My name is Deborah Merriam, and I am one of the workshop facilitators for the first ever Edmonton Resilience Festival. I'm going to be teaching how to dye wool yarn using natural dyes, and in this case they're all dyes that you can find at the farmer's market and that you can make as food in your kitchen. So today we are dyeing natural wool yarn that comes from custom woolen mills in Carstairs, Alberta, so it's local wool. In the workshop itself, we're just going to be doing the final dye bath step and preparing our yarn for that. I will have already done the boring scouring and mordanting steps. Today, I thought we would play with onion skins. In this workshop, we're going to be using foods from the kitchen, and they're all the kind of foods that you might be a little more careful when you're preparing or when you're eating because they can stain your clothes. If it can stain your clothes, it's a really good dye, chances are. Basically, what we're doing is making onion skin soup right now. The kind of dye bath that we're doing is called an immersion dye bath, which just means that we're going to take our entire piece of cloth or yarn, whatever it is you're using, and put the whole thing into the dye bath. So you can see that the color of the dye bath is different from the color that came out on the yarn. And the reason for that is that not all of the chemical compounds that come out of the onion skins into the dye bath, some of them are water soluble and just want to stay water soluble, and some of them are like, yay, fiber, and want to bind to the fiber. Okay, so this is called ECAT tape. Basically what it does is it helps us to make stripy yarn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to tie it tightly around sections of our skein of yarn. So you can see that the rinse water has some of the color that was in the yarn that's come out. So it's just a tiny bit brighter and not quite as dark as it was now that it's rinsed. So ordinarily we would wait until the yarn's completely dry before we would take these plastic bits off, because what happens if you take it off when it's wet is that the liquid that's still in the yarn can diffuse into the areas that were protected. And so you'll have more color bleed than you really want. As an artist, sometimes you want to have a color that's perfectly reproducible, and that's when an artificial dye is really, really important, and that's why artificial dyes are used in the clothing industry for the most part. Whereas if you want to have variability and extra interest in the fiber that you're producing, that you're going to then be using to weave or knit or rug hook or however you're planning to use your fiber, having that extra variability that comes with natural dyeing gives it more life and more interest.